All right, now to the story of Stephanie Land that is now being seen by thousands on Netflix. She was 28 and living here in the Pacific Northwest when her life plans to go to college and become a writer were cut short. Pregnant and escaping an abusive relationship, she started cleaning houses to survive. Plunged into poverty with just few of the supports that she needed, she had to fight for housing and for food for her child. Her memoir, Maid, and now the new Netflix show, inspired by her book, explores the idea of hardship, of pursuing the American dream from well below the poverty line.
The book and the series to me are each their own thing. Molly Smith Metzler's version of it is absolutely gorgeous and holds itself on its own. The series does follow a lot of the events that happened in my book to me personally. A lot of the characters have been fictionalized. There's, of course, a way more diverse cast of characters than they were in the memoir. I feel like they did an excellent job with bringing out the emotions, the terror and the shock and the heartbreak, and really the love just for your kid.
Yeah, it's hard when they take a memoir and make it something that is now an episodic that we can all see. But there is something that is so unifying about your book, especially something that we all need to pay attention to. You talk about a lack of dreaming in the book and being poor, how it was hard for you to focus on anything else but surviving. And this quote, that short-sightedness kept me from getting overwhelmed, but it also kept me from dreaming. Not something most of us realize, but it weighs your soul down, I would think.
You know, when you are in that situation, thinking about 5 or 10 years from now seems impossible because you can't imagine yourself in that situation 5 or 10 years from now. Because I was the most exhausted. I was living with a lot of pain, back pain from the work that I was doing. I was so lonely and just completely alone. And it almost felt like I couldn't afford to dream, or life didn't afford me that opportunity because I was just struggling to even survive and keep a house over our heads or keep a roof over our heads and keep us fed and really to be able to hang out with my kid.
Yeah. You clean houses for the middle class and the wealthy, and you shared in the book how you felt invisible to them. What is the lesson in how we have to do a better job at seeing each other?
I think we need to remove dignity from work and just place it in being alive. Mm-hmm. America is so work focused, and it especially is work focused for people in poverty. We want them to prove that they are working, that they want to work, that they're not lazy, but the jobs that they have are the jobs that nobody else wants to do. I see that as tied in a lot with racism and poverty, as we expect people to do these jobs that nobody else wants to do, but we're not paying them a living wage. We hardly ever see them. We hardly ever look them in the eye. The feeling is we're totally okay with that. We expect people to clean up after us all day. And I feel like there's some entitlement there. And that was one of the things that really baffled me. Even though I was the same age as my client, I still felt like I was less than, or that I had somehow failed in life, when really I just didn't have a lot of the invisible supports that they did.
No. It's something that I think, like I said, a lot of people will resonate with, but a lot of people who do resonate with it haven't written a book. What made you decide, when everything was going through your life, that you said, I have to write this into a book? I know you were a writer and that's what you always wanted to be, but did you foresee this, and what inspired you to get this down on paper?
Well, honestly, I saw a call for pitches for Vox Media. It's a website, and I sent them a pitch, and I started it out with "Dear Editor," and said, here's a couple of paragraphs from an essay I worked on in college. I hope you like it. And they responded, and they paid me $500. And that was the most money I had ever seen ever I had been trying to work as a freelancer for up to a year at that point. And the essay was published and it went viral like crazy. And an agent from New York reached out to me and said, you need to write a book. And I said, well, I didn't really want to write a book about this. And he said, well, you need to write this book. And so 11 months later, we had a book deal. And I really didn't expect anyone to care about what happens to a single mom who cleans houses and lives in poverty. But it touched a nerve with a lot of people.
Sure did. What is it you hope people take away from the book and the show and society in general?
It's really encouraging to me that people are talking about just they didn't realize how hard it was to seek services like getting on food stamps or childcare or medical care. I think the series did an excellent job in portraying that and just how many hoops you have to jump through, just how absolutely ridiculous it is. And so I hope people remember that when they vote this year and the next years, and we vote people into our communities who are either, empathetic toward people in the margins or have experience living in the margins.
You know you want to watch the show now, right? Well, good news is Netflix, the series inspired by Stephanie, is available now. And I just have to say again, hats off to all you single parents and guardians out there.